Hi friends, and welcome back to our channel. Are you considering moving to Utah? In today's video, we're going to give you 6 reasons why you actually might not want to move here to Utah. As with any state, there are some downsides to living in Utah, and we want to help inform you of what those are so you can decide if those things might be deal breakers for you.
If you consider all of these cons and still feel great about moving here and calling Utah home, then please reach out, text, email, or give us a call. We would love to help you get started with that process. So be sure to let us know what we can do to help you out.
If this is your first time to this channel and you want to know everything about living, eating, sleeping, working, and playing here in northern Utah, then subscribe below and tap the bell for notifications so you can be the first to know about the current market here in Utah.
We are Sloan and Kim Peterson with the Peterson Group. We've been in the real estate business for 10 years, and every day we help people just like you looking to buy, sell, and invest in northern Utah, and we absolutely do love it. Whether you are looking to move in 9 days or 90 days, give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email. All the information's in that description below so we can help you make that smooth transition to northern Utah. Let's go ahead and get into it.
So the first thing, and one that we have actually mentioned before, is the lack of professional sports teams here in Utah. Now for diehard sports fans, this can actually be a really big con in Utah. We have the Utah Jazz and Real Salt Lake as our main professional options, and I know it personally pains Sloan and I, but there is no NFL team and no room to ever get one in the future. Currently, we don't have the market or demand for a professional baseball or hockey team, and while we do see those things coming in the future, there's no talk of that happening anytime soon. So just something to keep in mind, as I know many states do have a lot of those professional sports teams, and that can be a big detriment for you as a big sports fan out there.
So the second con is that there's really no major conventions or really infrastructure to hold those major conventions here in Utah. So if you do work for a company that does hold major events, chances are you're probably going to be traveling into Vegas or California to visit those. Being in real estate, we for sure know this firsthand. We've had to travel for many different company and real estate related events in order to further our growth in the industry and to gain more industry knowledge, just to bring that back to our clients. In recent years though, Salt Lake has started hosting its own Comic-Con. Of course, it's nowhere near the scale of what you're going to see in states like California. So something to keep in mind if those things apply to you or you do enjoy those major hobby conventions. In terms of concerts from major artists, we are seeing some traction here in Salt Lake City, specifically for becoming a major stop for the bigger names. But again, it's still relatively small in comparison to a lot of the other states, even like Colorado and Washington. Just something to keep in mind if you're relocating here.
Another thing that some may consider a con is Utah nightlife. But our bigger cities like Salt Lake and Ogden have a relatively quiet nightlife scene compared to other cities, which may not be ideal for those looking for a more active nightlife. While we do have bars, nightclubs, and concert venues, a lot of things close earlier than in compared to other big cities. We like to joke that we are definitely the city that sleeps, usually around 1 a.m. when alcohol stops being served and most restaurants have closed. So if having an active nightlife is super important to you, then Utah might not be for you, or just expect that it might not be the nightlife you're used to.
Another topic we've talked about, and one that we've actually done a whole video about, which you can check out right here, is going to be Utah's public transportation. While the city does have a public transportation system, it may not be as robust as some of the major cities in the United States. It's part of the reason why we do experience many traffic and smog issues here in Utah. You almost have to have a car if you are commuting in the city, even if it's just one end to the other end, much less from a different city. When we commuted, we did take public transportation, and it took us almost 2 hours to get where we needed to go, when the drive time is actually only 1 hour. So unless you can commit to adding some major time to your commute, which no one really wants to do unless they have to do it, it's something they're going to want to consider if you are planning to move into Salt Lake City without a car, or the other cities in Utah as well.
So number 5 is something we've never really talked about that much, but it's Salt Lake City's proximity to other big cities. If you love that big city life, here in Utah, we really have Salt Lake as our major city, but in comparison, obviously, to lots of the other major cities in California, it's quite small. Then, of course, we have Ogden, which is even smaller. Of course, Boise is about a 5-hour drive away, but they are really similar in terms of culture and nightlife, etc., to Salt Lake. So if you want that sort of big city experience, your closest city is Las Vegas, which is of course not a typical city. It's more of that tourist attraction city. You're more looking at California or Denver for kind of that typical city trip, and that's like a 10 to 12 hour drive to either. So if you are one of those people that likes to take a trip into the city for the weekend, but you like a bigger city than what Salt Lake has to offer, Utah may actually not be the place for you.
And last but not least is gonna be our freeway access. So now for a lot of the state, we do have great freeway access in each city and major roadways that take you to that freeway access like we've talked about in many of our other vlog videos. However, the biggest issue with our freeways is the east to west access in pretty much every city. We don't currently have the infrastructure that makes it easy for people to take any sort of east to west route. This makes it super inconvenient for those people that are commuting to work, especially into the west or east side of Salt Lake, and especially if you are commuting into different cities to work. The state has started to build some major freeway access on the west side with Legacy Highway, which is currently still being built up north, and Bangor Highway, but the actual west-east commute is still lacking, and all those major freeways do run north to south. So if you are moving here to Utah and commuting, you're definitely want to tour the areas with us to see what's reasonable if you know where you're going to be working, and kind of just pick a spot to move to that meets your commuting time. That wraps up our video about the 6 reasons why you might not want to call Utah home. Personally, a lot of the cons we've learned to deal with, and the pros for us far outweigh the cons.
We hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Picking where you'll call home is an important decision, and we would love to help you make that smooth transition to northern Utah. If you're looking to purchase in the northern Utah area, we would love to help you out. Give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email. And until next time, like always, we are keeping it real. Estate.